My blind date looked down and said, "I won't blame you for walking away." I did the unexpected the moment she lowered her eyes and whispered, "I won't blame you for walking away." Every sound inside the little cafe seemed to disappear. The clinking glasses, the soft country music, even the laughter from the corner table faded into silence. I had only known Grace for 30 seconds, but the pain behind her gentle smile carried the weight of years. Most people would have stood up and left. Instead, I pulled out the chair across from her, sat down, and realized that the most important decision of my life had just been made. Before we continue, if you believe kindness still changes lives, and if you believe in hope, forgiveness, compassion, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that may need them today. My name is Nathan, and I lived in Nashville, Tennessee. At 39, I had spent years rebuilding my life after a difficult divorce. Friends insisted it was time to start dating again, so one of them arranged a blind date with Grace. They described her as thoughtful, funny, and incredibly kind. They never mentioned why she believed I would leave the moment I saw her. She arrived wearing a soft green dress, carrying herself with quiet dignity. There was warmth in her eyes, but also fear. After we ordered coffee, she folded her hands together and took a deep breath. She explained that she believed honesty belonged at the beginning, not the end. 3 years earlier, a serious illness had changed her life forever. Although she had recovered, the treatment had left visible scars across one side of her neck and shoulder. She told me that several first dates had ended within minutes after people noticed them. Some offered awkward excuses. Others simply never called again. She had stopped expecting anyone to stay. As she looked down at the table, embarrassed by something she had survived, rather than something she had chosen, I felt an unexpected sadness. Not because of the scars, but because of the loneliness they had brought into her life. I remembered my own years after my divorce, when I believed every failure defined who I was. I knew what it felt like to think your past had become your identity. Instead of changing the subject or pretending not to notice, I asked her about the hardest part of her recovery. Her expression changed immediately. No one had asked her that before. Most people only looked at the outside. I wanted to know the person who had fought her way through impossible days. For the next 2 hours, the conversation flowed as naturally as if we had known each other for years. Grace told me about the nurses who prayed with her before surgeries, the church friends who delivered meals, and her younger brother, Caleb, who shaved his own head so she would never feel alone. She admitted there were nights she doubted she would ever laugh again. I shared my own failures. I admitted how ashamed I had felt after my marriage ended, and how I buried myself in work, because facing loneliness seemed harder than working late every night. Neither of us tried to impress the other. We simply stopped hiding. As the afternoon sunlight stretched across the cafe windows, something remarkable happened. I realized I had completely forgotten about the scars she had worried over. I only noticed the kindness in her smile, the compassion in the way she thanked every server, and the quiet strength she carried without asking anyone to admire it. Over the next several months, we became close friends before anything else. We volunteered together at a local community food pantry. We attended church on Sundays. We spent evenings walking beside the Cumberland River, talking about dreams neither of us had dared to believe could still come true. Grace slowly stopped apologizing for the parts of herself she could not change, and I stopped measuring my worth by the mistakes I could never erase. One evening, we attended a neighborhood fundraiser. A little girl stared curiously at Grace's scar before asking if it hurt. Grace smiled gently and told her it had once been part of a very hard journey, but now it reminded her how precious every day truly was. The little girl hugged her without another question. Watching that simple moment reminded me how naturally children see hearts before appearances. Somewhere along the way, adults forget that lesson. A year later, surrounded by family and friends beneath the tall oak trees of a small Tennessee church, I promised Grace that I would never define her by the chapters that had wounded her. She smiled through tears and told me I had given her something even greater than love. I had given her the courage to believe she never needed to earn acceptance in the first place. Life was not suddenly perfect. We still faced ordinary struggles, unexpected bills, aging parents, and difficult days. But every challenge felt lighter because neither of us carried it alone anymore. Our marriage wasn't built on flawless appearances. It was built on honesty, faith, patience, and the decision to remain when walking away would have been easier. Before this story comes to an end, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment and tell us, what do you believe matters more, someone's appearance or the strength of their heart? Your words might encourage someone reading through the comments today. If this story touched your heart, reminded you that everyone is fighting a battle you cannot always see, please support the video by liking it, sharing it with someone you care about, subscribing to the channel, and letting this message of hope reach even more people. Sometimes the greatest love stories don't begin with perfect first impressions. Sometimes they begin with one frightened sentence, one unexpected decision, and one person willing to stay seated when everyone else would have walked away. And looking back now, I know the most beautiful thing I ever saw was never Grace's face. It was the incredible courage hidden inside her heart.